G'day, g'day, g'day. Mathematical KM here. Remember their initials, not a title. Keith Malumbi. And weighing in at 14.31, playing with the black pieces, up against Glenn, who is 16.95. So what's that? 200 and... How's my math? 264 points uphill. And let's see how we go. And this is going to be very interesting. It's having a look at the Hippo versus the Pseudo Austrian attack again. Let's see how we're going. We had a bit of a trial not too long ago playing, there we are, the 3-pawn kingside Pseudo Austrian attack. All about F5 push. Title for this video may well end up being that 3 is not one more than 3. 3 is not one more than 3. We need to have one more defender, or attacker really. After they push, we need to have one more attacker than the white pawn has defenders. And that is without including our G-pawn. That is the mission brief. Stop the F4 push. Secondary mission, playing B6 and C5. So it's just almost a standard Hippo, but with that, and having enough attackers on the F5 square, very much the light bishop doesn't move, and this knight does not go to D7. So other than that, that's the plan. And let's see how we go. Brings out his knight. Okay, so we've got this pawn and this knight and this bishop. We have 3. Normally, I say normally, but normally 3 is enough. 3 is one more than 2. Usually they have this pawn and perhaps a bishop. So 2, and we have 3. 3 is one more than 2. Let's see how the game goes. He's now got his 2 defenders of the square once he pushes. We have 1, 2, 3 attackers. So we're good. Remembering we do not include that G-pawn. We're preparing our C5 push. He castles. And the last time I met this, about a week or so ago, anybody who's been watching all the vids, I've gone straight into the C5 push, being met with this check, and that, do I put the knight in the way there? I can't put it here. If I put it here, that reduces my number of attackers for that square. It's a problem. And having talked to Solomon Riddell, the chess giant, whose Hippo course I'm a bit of a follower of, the key is castling, and it's best. So now we can play our C5 push, and there's no check to muck it around, and we keep our 3 attackers to stop the push. He develops bishop. We still play it. It is best. Got it down to 0.35 for white, which is not bad. Particularly as the computer likes the space that the Hippo doesn't take. And the alarm bells will go off from now on. Having seen this, where is that knight going? He's coming here. He's going to be 1, 2, 3, meaning I would need 4. And looking at it now, I'm wondering a lot about bishop forward, queen across. Don't think it works quite so well with queen forward. You don't want the queen to be one of the casualties. But if I have bishop, queen, pawn, that's 3, 4. 4 is one more. That would be, I think, on the weekend, I might play this one out with a different next move. However, let's see. Let's get this down a little bit so we can sort of see the suggestions. There we go. Now, I played knight to a6, and it's called best. It was kind of interesting dreams of these pawns marching along. Not part of either of the plans I told you we were meant to have at the start. And let's go back one. What did the computer recommend at this point? If we were staying bishop to b7, don't believe. But d5 is a move I've been kind of planning. If he hasn't taken me, then d5. If he takes, we take back. It's defused, the f5 push, if he takes. If I'm there and he pushes, well, again, that's defused the f5 push, because it doesn't have... If we can dissociate the e pawn from the f pawn, it sucks the life out of that f5 push. And the best move here was d5, and it got it down to 0.3, so even closer to level. And let's have a quick wonder. It's 0.73. It's nowhere near as good. The bishop comes in, and it's all starting to... Like, we'll be losing one of our best defenders of the king. It's not really what we wanted. Anyway, I've played knight to a6, further supporting this pawn, and I was never going to put the knight here. Could have put him here. Might have tempted. And if that had come forward, I could have gone forward. Interesting. Definitely the d5 push would have been better. Anyway, so let's see. He's played c3. f5 was best at this point. I've castled. And if I play f5 to stop him from playing f5, then I've got 3 defenders. And he might be arranging a lot of... But that knight hasn't got there yet. So if I play f5 first, he's got 1, 2 attackers, and I've got 3 defenders. So I can get it in. If not else, I can then take. So, but I've played it. Now it's interesting. Knight g3 was a miss. He should have... played e5. That was best for white at that point. Quite interesting, because we know the Pseudo Austrian attack player is fixated on playing f5 in as much as we're trying to stop him from playing. Anyway, we've played, and now he's got 1, 2, 3 defenders after he's played that. And we've got 1, 2, 3. We would need 4. What can we do? We can't get a 4th one now. It's too late for the bishop forward and queen across, which all this mucking around over on the queen side, we could have arranged that. We didn't. So the best thing we can do, if we can't get 4, we can reduce white to 3. How can we reduce white to 3? By going d takes e. Bishop takes back, and then he's only got the 2. And we've got our 3, he's only got 2. Would have been fine. So that's a bit of a shame there. Alright, it's an accuracy. The bishop moves back, and now we're almost in the same situation, except our c-pawn is going to be a little bit weaker after we play the d takes e, which we kind of have to if we want to stop that f5 push. So we do something completely insane over on the queen side, this knight, and we're going to really suffer from trying to get this knight. Knights are short-range pieces. That knight needs to come join the party. And instead of moving that pawn, that knight should have been coming. f5 is played, and as Solomon's course tells us, if we have to use that g-pawn, it's not all hope is lost, but kind of is all hope is lost. But let's see about the kicking and screaming. And so it all... and we've used our g-pawn. And now the game is actually... like, we're up 1 point of material, but look at the eval. The eval's plus 2.3 to white. We're up 1 point of material. This is telling us we should not be using that pawn. Let's see it happen. g3 was best, but he's coming with the knight. That makes a degree of sense. He was threatening the pawn that we're up. And, you know, a knight attacking... well, most likely the h-pawn, if you can get the... we're not going to give him 2 moves in a row or anything, but it's threatening. He's doubled up queen to h5. Would have been threatening that mate now. So I can see why the computer liked it. But queen to c2, he's just... wants the pawn back. So we've asked the knight to move away so that it, you know, in the hopes of it not combining with the queen. Back she goes to 1.56, down from that 2.4. So, you know, support. Bring the rook across, activating our pieces. That poor knight over there is the bane. Okay, we've got the battery aimed at the h-pawn. We do not want to let bishop takes, queen takes, and have the queen unfettered access to our king. King to h7. Rook e6. So that's an interesting way of... but we definitely need a second piece protecting. I can see the benefits of rook e6, getting another piece in front of the king, which very much becomes the problem. But we've gone second best with king h7. Bit of a standard Hippo move there, getting the double protection on the pawn there. He's brought his rook out, so, you know, a rook lift. I brought a rook out as well. The rook comes across, and I can very much... see, rook to g8, protecting the bishop and allowing the king to escape as well, potentially. I can see that. See how that's better. But I've given the protection from the queen, and it was a bit of a miss. Rook f1 is best. Have I got to move? Can I try to start bringing that knight across? The answer is no, not really. We've given the pawn back by that. And now that bishop's in the way, but if I was ever able to get the rook here, check. King would have to come here. Rook comes back, check. And win the queen. It's unlikely that a player of Glenn's calibre, in the top 800 of Australia, 1695. Let's come back. He's not going to let me get away with that particular type of cheapie, I would not have thought. So he's gone 3 pieces on poor old Harry. And let's get the king away. Rook g4 was best. That's nice. Trying to get a pair of the rooks off. That makes a lot of sense. And a brilliancy from Glenn. Going down the exchange. But it allows the bishop to come in. King back was a good choice. Check. Come across, that's the best choice. Bishop checks. Did not want to come here where any bishop move at all would have given a discovered check. He pulls the bishop back. And well, it wouldn't win the piece that it looks like because there's for example, a rook check that's available, but I can see how f6 gives more possibility of the king escaping. You'd probably go rook check and then move the bishop. It would be a much better move, but still, 3 points to white, even though I'm 1 point of material up, but it's not happy. I chose to give back the exchange. Was that in the rook? Oh, it was second best. I can see f6 is better, but that bishop is a strong piece. It's attacking my king. It's cooperating with the other pieces. I'm going to give back the exchange. Okay. Let's try and get the queens off. Wisely does not let the queens come off. I needed to do my best to not allow a rook to line up, a protected rook to line up on the queen and the king, which is the queen here. I'm trying to put the rook there, so I've rook to e8 was best. Wow. I mean, it's all very sad at this point in time. And I have arranged to get 2 pieces for my queen, but beautiful check. Also picks up the knight after the king moves, and then it is a pawn advantage and queen versus rook. I've kicked and screamed, I think, quite enough, and I've resigned to the game at this point. It's a gentlemanly thing to do. But I think we saw that 3 is not one more than 3. And a bit of a bishop forward and queen across idea. I had a way of getting 4, but also the idea of using the pawns to reduce his 3 defenders to 2 defenders by taking with a pawn in the middle of the board. Let's... For anybody who has watched the game so far, with it all being about f4, a couple of other, that knight out on the edge was a bit interesting, but from here, and I had a couple of chances, and you can see d times e4, it's actually an edge to black. It's all about stopping that. So we've got a little bit deeper against a top level opponent than the previous time, a week or so ago, when we didn't castle before c5. But after c5, playing d5 and then reducing, particularly if they've rerouted a knight, so that they have 3 defenders, change it to 2 defenders by taking that pawn. So some lessons learned, and I actually look forward to the next Pseudo Austrian versus my Hippo. So remember, like, share and subscribe, and tune in for next time's Pseudo Austrian v Hippo grudge fight.